Hey, how you doing? It's Clayton Tierney from the First Home Buyer Club, and I'm here with Clynt Robertson, one of my senior property coaches. How you doing today, mate?
I'm very excited. And yourself?
I'm not too bad for a Friday. Now, we wanted to jump on this morning to discuss the Home Builder Boost, how you can utilize that with the First Home Buyer Grant, low deposit scheme, stamp duty exemptions, and everything else that's associated with the first home buyers. Now, let me ask you, Clynt, in your time in property, and you were saying earlier you've been in property now for 12 years, when have you experienced this in the past?
Let me think. Never, Clay, is the answer.
This is literally a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for first home buyers. And if you're a second-time home buyer trying to enter the market, this is the time that you can easily get back into it as well. Because here's the reason why. The Home Builder Boost is applicable to first-time home buyers, second-time home buyers, and even investors to enter the market. And it's here for a short time. So tell me, Clynt, your initial thoughts with the Home Builder Boost and how it's all going to pan out for first and second-time home buyers.
Obviously, very exciting, Clay. I think, like you mentioned, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and there's very little reasons now not to make that step and finally get on the road to creating wealth. But obviously, people haven't joined in here just to hear us rattle off. I'll go and fire away some questions for you, and we'll go through and get to the nuts and bolts of this all for our clients.
Perfect. All right, mate. Out of the screen you go, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it. So at the end of this Facebook Live, we're going to encourage everyone to jump on. If you've got questions or there's things that you want to know, write it in the comments and we'll address them towards the end. So, Clynt.
Yeah. So, Clay, tell me, why don't you give us just a little bit of a brief overview? What exactly is the Home Builder?
So the Home Builder Boost, or the Home Builder scheme that's been currently released from the government, is a $25,000 incentive to buy new. That can be a house, a unit, a townhouse, and all you have to do is apply for it is have a build contract between now and December 31. But I have a funny feeling that what will probably happen is that we'll run out of budget before we run out of time.
Yeah. So, and on that point, Clay, obviously with the timing, when exactly does that all kick in? When can I access that?
Yep. So it started yesterday. So anyone that signs a contract from yesterday is applicable for this. And you have to sign it between now and December 31, as I said. And on top of that, you've got 3 months once you're approved to start building.
Awesome. So obviously there's going to be, a few hoops that we have to jump through, but how do I know if I'm eligible for it?
That's a good point. How do you know if you're eligible? Here's the first couple of things. You need to be over 18 years of age. If you're buying in a partnership, both you and the partner need to earn under $200,000 in a year. If you're a single, you need to earn under $125,000 a year, and you both need to be Australian citizens.
Okay, so Clay, in that case, I mean, if I'm a citizen and my partner or wife isn't, how would it work?
Well, here's the thing. Unfortunately, it wouldn't work for you. You both need to be Australian citizens to claim this. And so in times like that, then, yeah, you would unfortunately not qualify.
Okay. And just a little more detail. What if I already own land?
Yeah, so if you already own land, that's a good point. If you own the land prior to yesterday, which was June 4, that's not a problem at all. All the dates will come as of the engagement of the build contract. So as long as if you own land as of a week ago and you're signing build contracts today or tomorrow, you qualify.
Yeah. Okay. So are there any limits or price caps like to the spend? How much can I spend?
Yep, that's a good point. So yeah, there is a price limit. Now, firstly, this isn't just for brand new. If you plan on doing a home renovation that's above $150,000 and it's between $150,000 and $750,000, and the house prior to the renovations was worth 1.5 million or less, you'll qualify for that too. But with the home, sorry, and ask that question again.
So just the price caps.
The price cap itself for brand new, it has to be under 750,000. So for anyone that's tuning on that unfortunately is from New South Wales or Victoria, where a brand new house and land under 750,000 within an hour of the CBD is pretty much impossible. My only recommendations for you is jump online, book a flight to Brisbane, and come live up here. We're the sunny state.
So, Clay, in terms of, what do I need to do, documentation and that sort of stuff? I mean, is it all just straightforward or?
So it's an easy but hard question. Yes, it is pretty straightforward, the documentation that you need to provide. However, I would recommend that when it comes to that point, that you utilize a mortgage broker or the bank to do all the heavy lifting on your behalf.
Okay. And how seriously though, how long is this going to go on? Do I have time to get in?
Yep. So right now, the government has said that it will go towards until December 31. I can't remember the exact budget. I think it's around 600 million or something, but we'll get those exact details because we're going to put this together as a PDF. So anyone that comments, I want more info, today, we're going to send you out a PDF with everything that you need to know about it. But there will be some paperwork and some things you need to show. It's not just the government's going to give you the money for nothing. And, it's funny, I've got a lot of clients who have asked about the Super Saver and how it incorporates. It does. It's amazing. So the one thing we don't know right now is if you can utilize this money towards deposit. Now, I know some people will be saying, well, if you can't save money, you shouldn't be in a home. But what you'll find, especially right now, the interest rates are the lowest in history. So if you're buying a comparable house, you'll find straight away that the house that you're buying will have a less mortgage than what you're currently paying in rent. And with $40,000 to go towards the home, you're pretty much nearly getting instant equity. And especially in Brisbane, up to the sunny coast and down the Gold Coast, there's a lot of areas itself where you can fully take advantage of up to $40,000 and nearly have 10% equity without even doing anything.
Awesome. So, Clay, if I start the ball rolling with something here, and what if there's a change of circumstance?
Yep, that's a good point. So let's just say that you get approved for this, and for some reason over the next month or so that something happens at work and you're no longer able to work. All you need to do is inform the government, and obviously the finance broker or the bank that is assisting you through this will be able to send you the link so you can do it. You just need to tell them that your circumstances are changing and you're withdrawing from the home builder boost, and that's all that happens. So there's no penalization or penalty for not proceeding. As I say, this is literally once in a lifetime opportunity, and let's take it for what it is. So most people that work with me know that I'm very math orientated. I'm a bit of a numbers nerd, and when I analyze this, I see some massive opportunities. Like, think about this: if you were to save $40,000 cash, you'd actually need to earn somewhere in the vicinity of $55,000 to $60,000 before the tax man put his hand in your pocket, and then you're left with 40. This literally, if this is going to be a game changer, I will urge, though, don't rush out and just buy a property just for the sake of it. You need to be financially in a position to buy, because it doesn't matter what happens. If you don't have employment or you can't afford to pay a mortgage, that doesn't mean that you should own. Now, here's the other thing. Just because they've increased it to $25,000 home builder boost on top of the first home buyer grant doesn't mean that you should be looking for a property now that's another $50,000, $100,000, $150,000 above what your current budget is. I implore everybody to, before you go looking too far into what you'll purchase with a house, with a land, with a unit, with a townhouse, understand your budget. If you're only renting at $400 a week and can't put $100 towards savings, do not buy a property that's going to cost you $500, $600, $700 per week in mortgage repayments. Just because someone says you can afford it on paper doesn't mean that your lifestyle can. Be smart with your investments, because this is a chance to set yourself up financially. Please don't ruin it.
Awesome.
So I've got a question here. I can see some
Yeah.
comments below. So I'm going to just answer a few, and then Clynt, I'll get you to jump in and do others.
I'll read it to it. Rudy wants to know.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So Rudy Jr. So he wants to know, how much do you actually get then in total in Queensland, and is it enough to cover deposits and initial outlays? So do you still need to have some deposit?
Yeah, so I addressed that earlier, but it's a hard one to say right now, because obviously, you would have noticed with the low deposit scheme itself that came out at the end of last year, but started this year, that the government's made a decision without giving the banks enough time to put the appropriate measures in place. So what we know so far is that there are certain lenders that we utilise here at the First Home Buyer Club that are allowed to use the First Home Buyer Grant as deposit, offsetting from rental history. So what that means is if you rent at $400 plus per week, you can show a savings history of $20,000. Now, with a lot of banks, you can do that we utilise. We've got access to 95% lenders and 98% lenders. So on face value, and we're waiting for confirmation, we believe it's possible that we will be able to use the First Home Buyer Grant and the Home Builder Boost to enable you to get into a home. That doesn't account for your budget, though. So whilst we can say this is potentially an opportunity for you to own with little to no savings, we still need to ensure that you can afford to own a home. And anyone that's worked with us knows that we're not just getting you into a home to pay it off over 30 years. We want you to pay it off for 10, 15, or 20. So when you purchase a home, the numbers don't lie, right? We need to make sure that you can afford to buy this home and you can afford to live comfortably throughout your life. Because if you can't afford to even go out and buy a coffee on a weekend because you've bought the best house in the best suburb, that's not living, Barry.
So we've got a question here from John.
Yeah.
He just wanted to reiterate, are Kiwis eligible? Because I know he understands that there's some communication between Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, that's right. So again, unfortunately, at this stage, all the evidence shows that if you are a New Zealand citizen, that you won't be eligible for the Home Builder Boost or the low deposit scheme. It's the same reference if one of you is a permanent resident and the other is Australian citizen. Unfortunately, you won't qualify to get this additional $25,000. So yeah, you're right. And I'm just reading Rudy's $40,000 towards your own home. The other good thing is that you may come in with minimal savings, have a 10% deposit straight off the bat, and then we'll only use a little bit of what you have. We'll put the rest in the offset account, which then means 12, 24, 36 months when you want to move to the next home or you want to start the property journey and turn your first home into investment property, you already have the equity in place to take that next step.
Yeah, so Sai's just asking
Yep.
something he missed there about the Australian citizens. He wants to know if he can purchase as the only applicant if his wife doesn't work.
So that's a really good question. Obviously, there's certain things that haven't been discussed with the Home Builder Boost at the moment. I'm going to say yes on the basis that you can afford to purchase just in your name, because it just says the purchaser. So if you're only purchasing your name, yet you can afford to pay that mortgage, and with the bank putting the criteria of having another dependent, which was your wife, like even though it's your wife and not a child, it's still dependent because they rely on money from yourself to survive.
Yeah, so essentially one person on the title.
One person on the title at this stage, and I'm not the Australian government, but one person this point, if they're an Australian citizen, they're the only one going on it. Yes, I believe will be applicable to capitalise on an additional $25,000 towards your first home.
Cool. So we'll just reiterate that as well for Frankie there.
Yeah.
So singles can apply there, Frankie.
That's correct. Yeah, singles can apply to purchase their own home. And we'll just bring back, just in case you didn't hear it earlier, a single needs to earn under $125,000. A couple needs to earn under $200,000. The only thing we can't confirm at the moment, again, like this literally got released officially less than 24 hours ago, is this. if you earn over $125,000, but your wife is unemployed, the one thing we can't guarantee at the moment is, will they consider that as a joint application and fall under the 200,000, or will it be 125? I have a feeling if you put your wife on the title and collectively you're under $200,000, even though you earn over 125,000, you should be able to apply for it if you're an Australian citizen.
Yeah. So a lot of people are obviously asking for more information.
Yep.
So as Clay mentioned, we will be sending out.
Yeah, we've created a PDF that covers everything that we spoke about today and a bit more. I think it went to 10 or 11 pages. And of course, you're going to have more questions afterwards. We'd like to address them to ensure that everyone gets the right answers.
Yeah, we've got a few questions, Clay, obviously a little bit outside the boost. Just to reiterate that if anyone has questions around their employment to do with casual work or permanent employment, how that actually works, just to give us a call and we can go through everything.
Yeah, of course. So if you're wondering if you can apply, how much you can afford, that won't matter too much on the Home Builder Boost. With the Home Builder Boost and everything associated with it, that's not to do with the bank. So the bank's going to check to make sure that financially you can afford it. And with the Home Builder Boost, all they want to know is that if it's going to work out.
Awesome. So I've got a lot of people asking for more info. Don't worry, guys.
We're definitely going to send you more info now. We're just going to scroll through a couple of these responses to make sure we haven't lost it. I see one here, and I don't want to name the names because obviously just in case a person, hi, I just lost my permanent job, but I got a new job and it's only casual. I have 2 casual jobs and get enough hours. Would it be considered to get approved for the home loan? Also have 70,000 saved. All right. Well, firstly, 70,000 saved is amazing. And, you think about all these other steps that you're definitely in a good position. Financially, this is more of a bank lending question that would have to analyze a little bit more at a later date. So we'll probably reach out to you one-on-one and to chat about this further.
We've got Sudesh, he may have missed that point, just wants to know if the 25K can be taken as deposit.
So at the moment, we don't know. So there's no rules in the legislation that says if you can or can't use the $25,000 Home Builder Boost as your deposit. What we do know right now is it gets paid direct to the client. So unlike the first home buyer grant that gets paid to the bank is happy to accept that as or certain banks are happy to set that as your deposit based on the fact that they know they can collect it. What isn't clear yet is at what point will this $25,000 be paid? Once that comes out, and no doubt, as I said, we're less than 24 hours from it being officially released. And just like the low deposit scheme, they wanted to get the info out there and get everyone applicable for it. And they're going to continue to increase the knowledge around it. So I can't be 100% on what actually will apply for that.
So, how much could you benefit in total with all the different incentives we have now?
Yeah, that's a good point. Firstly, and Clynt was just wrote on a piece of paper, this isn't just applicable to first home buyers. So firstly, if you've already owned a home before, or you're looking to buy investment property, there's no reason why you can't capitalize on this $25,000 Home Builder Boost to get another property. But in regards to first home buyers, how does this affect you? I apologise for anyone that's in New South Wales, Victoria, Western Australia, South Australia, Northern Territory, ACT or Tasmania. I haven't addressed this Facebook Live towards you because they're states that I don't know 100% about. The Home Builder Boost won't change Australia-wide. The first home buyer grant is where we come in and we know the exact. So for a first home buyer, how does this work out? You get the $15,000 first home buyer grant. You can also get the $25,000 Home Builder Boost. As of July 1, there's the next round of the low deposit scheme applications, which is another 10,000. That's NAB, Commonwealth Bank, and 25 smaller lenders. That means that potentially you got a $40,000 deposit for your own home, on top of the fact that you only need to show 5% to avoid mortgage insurance during that scheme, which straight away you can not only get into your own home with maybe little to no savings, you can avoid mortgage insurance. And if you buy a comparable house, and I'll keep saying this all day, but if you buy a comparable home in cost and size as what you pay, what you have in rent, you'll find you pay less interest, less mortgage repayments than what you pay in rent repayments. I've got some clients at the moment that are getting really excited because they're paying $500, $600, $700 a week in rent. And here's the thing that I hear a lot: it seems too good to be true. And the other point that keeps getting asked is, or keeps getting stated is, because it's too good to be true, that it can't be right. Here's the thing that we've noticed. I'm like, how many years do you continue to pay $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 in rent before you've done enough of the hard yards to go, okay, it's my time now to start paying off my own mortgage and setting up my own future?
Yeah, so just another point there as well, Clyde, the concessions on stamp duty.
Yeah,
the land component is another added benefit for us.
That's right. So with land, it doesn't change. You still get the stamp duty exemption up to $250,000 in Queensland. And then if it's already built, I think it's like 550. But again, we'll explore that in greater detail with you one-on-one, because just in case I'm out slightly on the
now you're the numbers guy, Clay, but my numbers could be a little off here. But if I can save up to $7,000 to $10,000 on stamp duty, some LMI that could be $7,000 to $10,000 as well. Plus the combined 25 and 15, that puts us nearly around 60, doesn't it?
That's correct. Yeah. So you're getting the home builder boost 25,000. You get the first home buyer grant of $15,000. You're avoiding paying mortgage insurance, which could be another $10,000 to $15,000 with a lot of these properties, and then you're not paying stamp duty another $5,000, $6,000. Yeah, straight off the bat, this is a $60,000 saving. Now you think about that, like who does that? Like, it's crazy. Like, the government at the moment, and everyone goes, and I've seen a few comments go, it's not fair. Why isn't old homes applicable for this? Let's understand and realize what this is. This is a government incentive to boost the economy, to ensure that jobs continue on and money keeps going into the economy. Now, you think about this with an old home. Who makes money when someone sells an old home? The real estate agent, the conveyancer, maybe a stylist if it's a top-end house, but most homes don't get stylists. There's not many people that make money out of an old home. So to take advantage of this, they're saying, hey, we want to keep the economy moving on, and we want the construction industry to continue to build and continue to make money so our economy can strive. And it is what it is. Like, everyone goes, well, I don't want to buy a new home because you're stuck in a dog box or a sardine. We got clients that are building on 1.5 acre, 2 acre blocks. Like, it doesn't exist. Like, as I explained to everyone, I'm like, don't stop yourself from running the race before you understand, right? I would get all the information. That's what we do here with our team. We'll actually take you through every step. And if at the very end you realize that it's not for you, no harm, no foul, right? But I'd rather you make educated decisions and not just listen to the Uber driver and the taxi. Like, back in the day before Uber was here, I used to get told that once the taxi driver is telling you about a hot tip, if it's Bitcoin or it's where you should be buying in property or what shares to invest, it's too late. It's over, right? Don't be that person who listens to a second, third, fourth hand information to make your decision. The other thing I will talk about is family. I love my family to get death. I will be honest, and I hope my mum's not on this, that my mum financially gave me some bad property advice when I was young. And still to this day, I've got to teach her about what I know, right? You think about this. Family advice sometimes is like the new iPhone. And they had the best advice and it was 100% right 5 or 10 years ago. But now we've got 3 cameras. We've got, zoom in, zoom out. We've got all this technology. Things change over time. So just remember that your parents, your family, your friends, they love you and they're coming from here, a place in their heart where they want you to be safe and they don't want anything to happen. But sometimes the information they learn is outdated. Just be aware of that.
Yeah, and keeping the things going economically, like you mentioned, Clay. Another point
Speak up, please.
That we spoke about was obviously in in Southeast Queensland, the amount of people coming and then versus the amount of houses actually being built.
Yeah. So I don't know the exact figures, but I was reading a report recently that was saying that we're actually, our housing market is undersupplied right now, which is a great sign, which means that, that we're not overcapitalizing. Now, one thing I will say, and again, this is my personal point of view, I don't love units. Now, I live in a townhouse. It's handy for me because if anyone follows my page will understand that I have a sausage dog. He doesn't need much space. And because of my workload, I'm never home. But at the end of the day, land makes your money, not the house. That front door that cost $500 at Bunnings when it first was built doesn't actually be worth $1,000 or $2,000 in 5 to 10 years' time. The land is the valuable part. So just be aware of that when you're looking at a purchase. The biggest issue I have with a lot of my clients is this. You've got to think about this. We're all in a comfort bubble, right? And at the moment, and I'm a good example of this, I hate going to a different Coles than what I shop to down the road. And here's the reason why. Everything's in the wrong place. I don't know where it is. I spend more time. It's the same as where you currently live. You think about where you live right now, and the worst thing we can think of is, where do we have to go? Where's our coffee shops? How do we get to work? And it scares us from taking the next step. There's often some really good deals very close to where you're currently looking. Like clients of ours that secured a block of land $80,000 cheaper than the brand new development that was literally on the same road and only 230 meters away. Don't fall for the trap of only looking on the first page of Facebook, and also do more research, because obviously we get on-market and off-market listings, so we see a lot more better deals that come up. But there are always nuggets of gold around. You just need to know where to look.
And speaking of next steps then, Clay, we'll send out the PDF to everyone, and what can they do to get the ball rolling with us? Okay, so next steps, you're right. So we will send everyone that's commented in the comments today about wanting more information. We're going to personally send you the PDF, and in that's going to talk about everything with the Home Builder Boost, the first home buyer grant, and how we can help. So what's that? PDF. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're going to send a link in the comments as well on top. How you can take the next step if you reach out to us via Facebook or phone us or jump on our website. We'll be able to chat to you more one-on-one in regards to where you currently stand financially, what you can afford to buy, and how this is going to benefit you long-term. One thing I will stress is, I talk to everyone about it, you need to understand the difference between what you're paying in rent and savings compared to a mortgage. There's one thing that I focus on with all my clients, and I will urge you to do, and that is that don't buy outside of your means. So don't buy that house in that street or that location you're currently at without understanding how that's going to affect you financially. And you need to have that actual serious talk with your family and go, okay, well, if we're only contributing $600 per week in rent and savings, and this mortgage is $700 per week, is this realistic, or are we just saying we want it for the sake of it? Don't be greedy, because too many people struggle with a property because they haven't done the right planning up front. I want to get you in a home that you not only be able to pay off, but pay off faster. And that doesn't mean you have to jeopardize the house, the land, the location, or anything like that. It's just about making educated decisions, and that's based on the numbers, nothing else. And I see here we just got a private message. Someone asked, that this is all great. However, what happens when the interest rates go up to 10%? Firstly, I think the last time interest rates were 10% were in the 90s. Now, we can have that argument all day long, but I know early 2000s, the average house price in Brisbane was only like $200,000. I'm happy to take a house at $150,000 and pay 10% instead of buying one now at $500,000 and paying 3 or 4%. Understand what this is. Now, the other thing is with interest rates, and again, this isn't financial advice, but the RBA and the banks are not going to just start throwing up the interest rates if people can't afford it, right? So again,
The banks take this into consideration when you apply for a home loan, and they make sure that you not only can afford the rates at today, but they add a buffer of a couple of percent on top to make sure that if something bad happened in the years to come, you can still afford to do that.
Yeah, and then further to that, Clay, if people do want to go and see if they qualify, if they haven't actually looked for themselves, at the bottom of the PDF we'll have a link, and they can go straight onto our page and start asking some questions to find out.
That's right. If you'd love to know more information, if you qualify or not, but don't want to pick up the phone and make that call, because I understand, like, at the end of the day, it's daunting and there's some things that need to happen. But yeah, at the end of this PDF, there's going to be a link. It's going to be a qualification link. You click on it. It's going to be in Messenger. We're going to ask a few questions. Very quick. You can be done in 30 seconds or less. And then you'll have a better understanding of how we can help. Now, if it may ask some more information, we're going to get back to you. I will explain, though, there are a lot of things and a lot of applications we're going through at the moment. And as you can understand, the clients we're currently working with right now have our most amount of priority. And not that we're not going to give anyone else the priority, right? But we, call me biased, but I need to make sure, and everyone knows yesterday from 8:30 yesterday morning, everyone was getting called. We were on top of this before it got released, right? And Jared already started with you guys, excited to work with you and make my dreams come true. I'm going to take credit for that, but I know that, Jared, you're working with Clynt. But, I'll take all the credit for the good ones. And then if anything bad happens, I'll pass it back to Clynt and blame him. Don't hesitate, Chester. Don't hesitate to contact Clayton. He's expert with the matter. We have our first home in a few weeks. Thank you, Chester. We do. I can't wait to give you the keys. And everyone goes, I'm still there at the end. The end part is the part I love. So I will explain a little bit more about the First Home Buyer Club and how we help. I call us property coaches, and here's the reason. We do all the things that link you up with owning a home and then paying it off. So the part I love, and I love the numbers, is that not only once we get you into the home, and I've already spoke to you about the numbers up front, so we're going to go through your finances, understand if you can afford it, help you look for land, negotiate the land. We're going to build your home. We're going to manage the build to make sure it runs on time and smoothly. All our homes are fixed price and full turnkey, so you never have to worry about paying extra than what you should. And then once you're in the home, and I'll be the person who gives the keys, or Clynt, if it's Clynt's clients, I'll then arrange a Zoom meeting with you one-on-one in the week to 2 weeks after you move in. Once you're settled, we're going to go over your budget again and create that plan to be debt-free faster. We had clients the other day, first 3 months, and I don't want to name them because obviously it's live. First 3 months, we're going to pay out their car in full, which is then going to free up with their savings, their car repayments, and the extra they're currently doing, $2,000 a month, which within 11 years and 2 months will be mortgage free if we stick to this plan. One thing I will stress is just because a mortgage is over 30 years doesn't mean you have to keep it for 30 years. There's a lot of simple steps to do to ensure that you can pay off this house and be financially free a lot faster.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also just with now that we are going to see an increased amount of people coming through, Clay, I would just encourage people, when at the end of the questions, if it does want them to book a time, that they go and take that booking before they run out, because we only have so much time in the day.
Perfect. Yeah, that is correct. And I hate to say this, but we're very limited to who we are, right? Everyone knows me and my fiance is not 100% happy with this, but I was in the office this morning at about 6 o'clock. I tend to get up around 4:30 so that I can read and educate myself before I exercise, because especially with COVID, I found that my health was taking a backward step. So I'm trying to do everything every day, a little bit every day, to make sure I can fit it all in. For me, I love what I do, right? And Clynt's the same. We'll be here throughout to ensure that you get the best deals possible, because if I can save you 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 on a purchase and then turn a 30-year mortgage down to 10 or 15, that's the part I get the most enjoyment about. And, for me, I grew up in a home where financially we weren't as well off as others. And, it was a funny story. I was talking to Clynt about it the other day, that the first time I had a mango was like when I was 19 in the army, deployed to East Timor, and I never knew what a mango was, right? So they pulled one down, and everyone couldn't understand why I'd never had one. But for me back home, mangoes were like $3-4 in WA. It's a luxury that it wasn't ever on my radar that I wanted to spend money on. And, so my priority has always been the numbers with my clients, with myself, with the future. You need to plan on these things, right? Because unfortunately, too many people get to retirement at 65 or 67, depending on how old you are, with no plan through retirement. So you really need to understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and just a little bit of planning, right? It's not to say, hey, every person's going to be a millionaire, but just having enough money to make choices on your terms. And that's what life's about.
That's a good point, Clay. And, one of my favorite questions is obviously, to understand what would it feel like not to have to pay a mortgage for 15 years when you thought you were getting into a 30-year slog. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, right? As we get older, our bodies don't perform at the same level as we were 5-10 years ago. And, like we think about when we were kids, running around playing sports and all the rest, we could do that all day, wake up next morning and we're like reset. As we get older, we can't do that. And it's the same with getting up early in the morning, working all day. We start to get a little bit slower, a little bit tireder, and we're getting to a point where we don't want to do it anymore. So I think to myself, if we can be mortgage free a lot faster than 10, 15 years, that means that when you get close to retirement, you're not forced to work. And the other thing is, if we can have you mortgage free on at least one property, and through retirement, you're not getting enough money through the government and currently Win Super, you've got an asset you can sell and live off through life and enjoy the last couple of years. Because for most, they're going to get to retirement, you're going to be 65, 67, and in some sort of work capacity, be do 50 plus years. And then to be just living off bread and water, that's just not fair.
Yeah. That's great. We've got lots of requests for info, guys, so we will get to you.
Can New Zealanders get the grant? Unfortunately not. You have to be an Australian citizen. Already work with you guys. I think that's about it for the questions. So we might finish off on here. Clynt, is there anything that you want me to talk about before I finish?
I think we knocked the nail on the head on most of it, Clay. So I'm just excited to start having these conversations with our clients and try and get as many people to take advantage of what's been thrown at us by the government.
Perfect. So just to recap, we're going to send a PDF to anyone that asks some more info in the comments below. We're also going to do a qualification link. So if you want to know, you can find out within 30 seconds if you're in a position to purchase now or not. And then we're going to arrange more calls because as we understand, we're getting a lot of information at the moment. We will work longer. We will ensure that you get the best deals possible. And hopefully, when you can capitalize on everything, 40, 50, 60 grand with the grants, the stamp duty exemptions, the potential to avoid mortgage insurance, it's a lot of money to look at and capitalize on. And we want to get it to you all. Anything else, Clynt?
I'm ready to get going.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, guys. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye.